in Haitian culture, we hear the word loup-garou. Sometimes we hear poisson. Well, today I'm going to make sense out of a lot of confusion. You know, for my Haitian Americans that hear of these folklores and tales in Haiti, today I'm going to give you the reality. And for those that are not of Haitian descent, I'm here to give you some info so you can see or have an idea of the things you hear or the things you read. But most of the things you read are a bunch of machinations out of an individual's mind, and they haven't had a direct experience with this phenomenon. So today I want to talk first about the loup-garou. Secondly, I will move into the vampire, and then I will move into the whole poisson thing. Now, when we're talking about the loup-garou in Haitian culture is like a succubus. But before I move forward, I have to say this, is that you cannot have none of the latter without Marinette. Because in Haitian culture, Marinette is considered Mama loup-garou, or she is considered the mother of loup-garou. Now, the loup-garou in Haitian culture has a very different meaning from that of France. In France, you think of a person that changes into a wolf, where per se in Haitian culture, it becomes a individual or a spirit that can take on the form of any creature. It could be a cat. It can be a zondolite, or what they call a lizard. It can be that. It can take on any form. Now, when we think of loup-garou in Haitian culture, we think of a spiritual being that enters into the home. At times, it can basically kill the child or an infant. You know, and when we say it can kill the infant, we mean it in a sense that this spiritual force robs the child or the infant of its life force and is able to cause what they call crib death. Sometimes it can even suck grown individuals' life force out of their body. But at times, especially when I was a kid, I want to say this, is that I remember there was a homeowner who saw a cat by his house at nighttime, and what he did was he took a machete and killed the cat because he said that the cat could have been a spirit that was trying to take the life force of their child. Now, when it's something that can be difficult for an individual to understand, because they're thinking, the carnal mind will say, oh, a cat is going to go over by the crib. I forgot the show a long time ago, but there was a film that it gave the illustration of a cat, leaning over a child and breathing the air that the child breathed. And every time the cat took a breath of the child's, or it took inhaled, the cat would inhale the child's breath, which was basically taking the wind or the life force out of him. Now, this is the common view, or this is the thought that many people would have when they hear the concept, or especially Haitians, they would have the concept of a cat sucking the life force out of the child. But this is not how this thing transpires. The thing is, there's forces all around us, and sometimes the manifestation of the force can be, it can have a symbol that it goes behind. Like you have a veve, you can have or you can have, what they call this thing again? A sigil. Every force has a sigil. Sometimes it's not a sigil, it can be a living being. So just by a person coming in interaction with that event, they can become one with that event, or a animal. So if a child is dying, the child is losing its vitality. An animal can be in the area that is a representation of that force taking the energy from that child. So the animal may not even be conscious of what's happening, but the fact that it's tied to that stream of energy, this becomes a unit where both are related. But the cat may not have anything to do with this. But now, sometimes in Haitian culture, you find people that are called loup-garou. Some people say, oh, they can voler, or those people over there, they fly at night. This is nothing but superstition and a lack of understanding. Because when you understand this, it goes back into the concept or the view of France, where there was a story, I believe, from France, where there was a guy who I think I believe there was wolves attacking certain places in France, and what happened was they killed one wolf, and then later down the line they saw a man that was hurt, or he was killed, and he had a wound, the same location where they had hit the wolf. Now, in Haitian culture, this becomes something that you can find in it, where a person may attack their animal, and this is sometimes where you hear of they turn someone into a cow, or they turn someone into a goat, because in reality what it is a transference of energy, where you have an individual, whether it's a cat, whether it's a dog, everyone has a totem, an animal totem. Why do you think that they may say this person here born around this time period has an animal totem of a dog, another person has an animal totem of a crab? At times when you hit an adversary, when you're doing black magic, you'll probably see at times animals that die. Or you can see bad things happen to the animal, because that is a representation of that individual. But now you can also do this in black magic, where some people in Haiti may take certain animals and they attach that person's spirit with the animal, and when they do certain things to the animal, it befalls the human being. Now, when you're talking about loup-garou, this is a very, very broad subject. It's not something that you can hold down with one conversation, or you can just view it in one way. There's many ways to look at this. Many ways. So now I'm going to move on to my next subject, which is basically the concept of vampire. The concept of vampire in Haitian culture is no different from ancient Europe. So if there's any Romanians that know about vampire slayers, then you know where I'm going with this. Because a vampire is no different from a zombie. A vampire is no different from a muerto. But the only difference is that the vampire, we can say, is a rogue spirit. We can say at times it can be a person that wasn't buried correctly. It could be a person whose items are fucked with on earth that still has a connection with the spirit, that sends the spirit of dead to come back to haunt the living. At times, what some of these spirits do is that they latch themselves onto a human being. And that human being begins to feel tired. They begin to feel drained. I don't know. Maybe you have had a situation where you went to sleep one night, and let's just say you had the sleep paralysis, and you saw a big black shadow. And then when you woke up, or you had the sleep paralysis, or when you got up later on, or another night, you went to sleep and you feel like, oh my God, my neck hurts so bad. Or you feel, your back hurts so bad. You say you slept incorrectly. Not to say that the physical is not a reflection, Not to say that the pain isn't caused by human error, by sleeping incorrectly, but we have to take in consideration that the actions are a reflection of what lies in the spirit. So when you go to sleep and you feel, oh my God, I feel pain in my neck. Oh, I feel pain in my shoulder. I slept bad. Before you think that, maybe you should investigate whether or not there's not an entity in your life causing that. Because sometimes an entity can come into your life, and when you sleep at night, they find you the most vulnerable, and this is when they take advantage of you. And when they take advantage of you, you wake up and you feel sore, you feel like you're in pain, you feel drained. A vampire is pretty much the spirit of the dead. A vampire, for me to put it in basic English for you, a vampire is a spirit of the dead. And if you go to talk to people from Europe whatsoever, especially Romania, and places that have a history of those situations, you'll hear the same thing that I'm telling you. There's many things and techniques they do to solve that problem. When we're talking about boisson, they say, oh, this spirit drunk that person's blood. That spirit drunk that spirit drinks that blood. Or that spirit drinks blood. It can mean a couple of things. A spirit can see boisson. It can mean that spirit is very violent. But then it can also mean this spirit drains the life force from human beings. When you say succubus, a succubus is no different from a vampire, no different from a zombie, no different from a loup-garou. It's just the only difference which separates all these names which I mentioned is culture. Each culture or people who have experience with the same phenomenon gives it a name. In one culture, they may call it uthir. Another culture, they call it muerto. Another culture, they call it a zombie. In another phase, they say it's a vampire. And now you got confusion because everyone is talking about the same thing, but now everyone thinks that they're talking about something different. So, in Haitian culture, when you hear that Marinette is a mama loup-garou, what does this mean? It means that she is the guardian of spirits that drain life force. Without Marinette, there cannot be a vampire. There cannot be a loup-garou. And this is crazy. I know it sounds crazy that I mention these things and I just told you that they're all the same. But for the sake of this video, I separate this for those who do not understand. But in all reality, all these things are one and the same. So, with that said, I conclude this video. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.